Hello, my name is Steve North. I'm from the EASE working group, that's Exeter Anthrozoology as Symbiotic Ethics at the University of Exeter in the UK. And the title of my talk today is Computational Anthrozoology, a Manifesto, as the lens and under the lens. Anthrozoology researchers are already highly dependent on computer-based systems to mediate their understandings of interactions between humans and other animals. It's proposed that this dependence would benefit from greater levels of reflection. I would argue that now seems like an appropriate time to think carefully about how we currently use technology in our anthrozoology research. As I'm proposing it, computational anthrozoology will both help us to think about and to specify the digital tools that we want to support our studies, and provide a new research space to, one, reflect on the impacts of our digital study tools on the interactions that we observe, and two, to consider any technology mediating those interactions. So anthrozoology hasn't formally considered this area. I've looked for literature, that doesn't appear to be very much. We're all aware that we use digital era tools every day in our research and fieldwork. So what about anthropology? Has that considered this? Well, there are various small field subdomains, research areas that are looking at this and have named themselves computational anthropology, digital anthropology, techno anthropology, digital ethnography, cyber anthropology, virtual anthropology. They all have some degree of similarity and they cross over, so I'm not going to bother picking all that apart. But you can see that this is an area that people have taken quite seriously in anthropology, and I'm suggesting we should do the same in anthrozoology. So what is computational anthrozoology as I'm describing it? One, it's about using computers to study human interspecies relationships. That's what I call the computer as the lens. And two, studying human interspecies relationships that are themselves mediated by computers. That's you putting the computer under the lens. So in one, we're looking through our technology at our interactions, and in two, the interactions we're looking at include technology. So the computer as the lens, let's look at some finer examples of that. This might include the use of computer-based systems to help us understand interactions between humans and other animals. Computer systems as supportive technologies, for example, the use of artificial intelligence, machine learning and computer vision to automate the recognition of behaviours and emotions during interactions. Citizen science approaches that enable human animals to participate in anthrozoological studies. Video and audio analysis, where computers are used to support the understanding of interaction data collected in the field. Data session and fieldwork review tools, for example, synchronizing log files, video, audio and electronic notes into a navigable timeline for researcher review. Now this is something that exists in other areas of participant observation in computer science, and there are tools for that. Maybe those tools are readily transferable into anthrozoology, but we should be looking at it and thinking about it. It's quite useful to be able to bring together all of your fieldwork notes, all your digital stuff, your stills, videos, and see them on a timeline linked together with computerized log files. Using mixed reality technologies, virtual, augmented, etc., or agent systems to simulate human interactions with other animals. Using an anthrozoological perspective to contextualize the data mining of online information relating to human-animal interaction. So that's desk-based studies where you're drilling down through existing data, trying to look for patterns and observations. That might well be a quantitative type approach. So let's look at an example of as the lens. Acting as a tool to analyze the interaction between the human and the other animal. For example, on the left, Pixio's auto-follow camera system, and on the right, an equitation science riding analysis system. If we conducted computational anthrozoology studies of these interactions, the technology would be the study tool. We're looking through the technology at the interaction. Now let's turn to the computer under the lens. This might include studying parallels between human, non-human animal interactions and human-computer interactions. This is as considered by the computer science field of HCI, human-computer interaction. Studying relationships between humans and other animals that are mediated by computers. For example, dogs watching TV with humans, cat enrichment with tablet-based computer games, they're all over the internet, or horses living in automated housing systems, that's something I've looked at myself. Studying interactions between humans and virtual representations of other animals, for example, zoo experiences that either interpret, speak for, or completely replace non-human animals, which is something we might be moving towards in the future. There are examples already of completely simulated aquarium systems on a giant scale, not involving any real non-humans. Observing and contextualizing humans and other animals as they exist, represent themselves and are depicted online in social media, YouTube, etc. So let's look at some examples of under the lens, or an example. Acting as an interface between the human and the other animal. The University of Pennsylvania School of Veterinary Medicine's equine imaging system, if we conducted a computational anthrozoology study of this interaction, the technology would be the focus. We're looking at the technology as it interacts with the human and the non-human. So what are the methodological implications? Computational anthrozoology is both data-driven as the lens, and it's also reflexive when it's under the lens. Therefore, it can use mixed and hybrid methodological approaches. So we might use quantitative, statistics, ethology-based observations, etc. And we might use qualitative or even descriptive ethnography, etc. Or we might start to look at hybrids of these that bring together elements of them that are most appropriate to this type of study. So what are the types of questions that we might want to ask? What do the technological tools that we choose say about our inherent biases and the filters or distances that we may place between ourselves and the participants that we observe? What happens when human interactions with other animals are mediated by technology? For example, dogs watching TV, cat enrichment, as I mentioned before. I promised you a manifesto, and you are going to get the Computational Anthrozoology Manifesto. Anthrozoologists with an interest in technology, please join me. I call on you to help me study the interactions between humans and other animals by using your machines as the lens and putting machines that mediate such interactions under the lens. We have nothing to lose but our ignorance concerning the role of technology in human interspecies interactions. Unite! Fight for your right to understand the role that machines play when humans meet other animals. And that's all I'm going to say on that. Thank you very much. I'm Steve North. Thank you for your time.